Hey everyone, I'm Grant and welcome back to the channel. Woke up this morning to some really unexpected great news. The silicone hose that I had ordered for my transmission cooling lines is being delivered today. The lines I have on it right now have a very low burst rating and I was really concerned about it. These new silicone hoses have a very high burst rating, so that is fantastic news. That means, assuming nothing goes catastrophically wrong and we don't have any problems, I'm probably driving my Wrangler this afternoon, the first time in 7 or 8 months. So until that gets here today in the mail, I'm going to focus on just tidying up all the little stuff just so I'm ready once those parts get here. So I'm going to get to it. Sorry for the handheld, but it's just going to make this easier. I've not been filming the way I normally film, mostly because this whole week has not gone how I thought it was. I thought I was going to be driving this 2 days ago, and I'm running out of days on my vacation, so I'm not sure everyone knows this, but when you film doing car work, it takes a lot longer. You have to get the camera angles right and all that. And I'm running out of time, so I've kind of stopped filming a lot of what I'm doing, so I'm going to give you a quick tour. So I've got this figured out. I have the electric fan rewired. I have the alternator all hooked up again. I have my tack wire run. The other thing I did was I reinstalled the fuel filler neck for the tank. I did have to trim off a little bit because I raised the tank. Going around here, I did pull this off because I couldn't remember what the wiring was. So if you look at this jumbled mess, and it is a jumbled mess, I have everything hooked up. I have my key where you can see it turns on the controller, it turns on this box, the gauges come on. That's what I'm currently working on until the silicone hose gets here, and that's all the updates so far. Once I figure out the boost and EGT, I then am going to have to use my computer again to configure the tack input and a couple other things just to make sure the TCU is seeing everything I'm expecting it to see. So with that said, I'm going to get back to work. Bye. Alright everyone, I got my hoses, so I'm going to stop what I'm doing on the interior. I decided just to remount the boost and EGT gauge the way I had it, and I've just been kind of cleaning it up and just trying to make sure when I do go for a test drive I have nothing in the way of my feet or anything like that. There were times where I had one part of the wiring harness kept falling and I would get my foot tangled, which really kind of freaked me out. So I've just been doing small stuff like that. Because all of this is above the drive shaft and everything, I'm not going to film this, but I'm going to go ahead and get this installed real quick. I'll be back. Now that there's water just hanging here in the funnel, I'm going to open the shop. I'm going to turn the vehicle on. I'm going to check for leaks, see if anything doesn't sound right. If everything's looking good, I'm going to quickly deal with the computer to make sure it's seeing an accurate tachometer. And if that all goes well, we'll continue to bleed the system and triple check everything. If nothing's still leaking, I'll put the Wrangler back on the ground. We might be taking this for a test drive, which is very exciting. So I'll be back. Fire in the hole. So I think everything's good. Surprisingly, I figured out the RPM on the TCU first try. Kind of shocked by that. It's reading correctly. I'm very happy with that. So I'm going to fill the water tank because there's a weird way you have to do it just because of the way I've set up the whole system, and I know this is a thing and I'm going to address it later, but I'm not fixing it today. But yeah, I think we're going to back the Wrangler out of the shop and see what happens. Failure. OSS failure. I don't know what OSS failure is. Wonderful. All right, everyone, it's been a couple hours. Took a break, did some research and reading, and I know what my error code is, and I know how to fix it. So, in the instructions that come with the Quick 6, they outline a output speed sensor, and that's what I don't have on my 6R80 because mine came out of a four-wheel drive, probably an F-150 if I had to guess. So, since it doesn't have one, the good thing is my MP231 does have basically an output speed sensor, and I can configure it in the software so the Quick 6 knows what it's looking at and it can use it for its shifting and whatever it needs it to be used for. So, that's the good news. On to the not so good news is I now have to splice and cut into my factory harness that goes from the Quick 6 to my transmission. So I need to cut, I think it's the green wire, which is output speed sensor, and I believe these are labeled, so I'll be able to verify it on here. But the other thing I'm going to have to do is also splice this pink wire, the power wire, because this is a 5-volt circuit, not a 12-volt. And I've already done a lot of digging. I cannot find a 5-volt source on my TJ. Apparently I've removed them all. So we're going to be modifying this so the Quick 6 has an output speed sensor. So hopefully this will all work. And it's also now dark outside, so if I get this all hooked up tonight, we're not going to be able to test it until the morning, but I'd like to go ahead and have it done. So I'm going to get to work. Really didn't want to do this, but it's necessary. Actually, I'm first going to cut, oh, that hurt, the pink wire, but I'm doing that because I need to make sure that that wire is 5 volts, and if it's not, that's going to be easy enough to repair very quickly. So, just ground this out. Here, we should see, and we're going to get error codes. That's 10 volts. Okay, well, we're going to fix that real quick. And I guess I'm going to pull off of the 5-volt line for the TPS. I had hoped this was going to be easier, but deep down I knew it wasn't. I think I'm going to call it quits for the night. I hooked up the tone ring sensor on the MP231 to the Quick 6 controller, and I've updated the firmware telling it how many pulses per rotation, which I believe is 3. Might need to adjust that. There's a couple other things I need to figure out in the software that I'm running into. My speedometer's not accurate right now, which drives me crazy. But we're getting there, and even with all the issues I'm having, my Wrangler runs. It moves under its own power. I wouldn't say it drives, but it moves under its own power. And it only looks like I have one minor leak, and I kind of know how to fix that. So everything's actually going really, really well. I'm really happy with where I'm at currently. So tomorrow, once it's daylight outside, we'll start trying to do some more test drives. But it's like 10:30 at night right now, and I am beat, and I am going to call it quits. So again, to everyone who's been hanging out and watching all the videos that I've been posting, thank you so much. It means the world to me. This has been a long journey, and I have learned a ton. But we're not done. Clearly, I still have a lot of tuning to do on the engine. I have a ton of tuning to do with the automatic transmission. But we're getting there. We're finally making really good progress. But anyway, it's YouTube. You know what to do. Take out more than you bring. Tread lightly. And I'll see you soon. Goodbye. The camera is too low to capture the essence of the mood that I am trying to show on cellophane film. I'm that tired.